And we're back. Thank you all for being so patient with us as we make these pivots from one stream to the next, one event to the next. Welcome to the Correllians Live Telethon. And thank you so much. We're so glad to have you here. My next guest is an amazing individual and one of my best friends in the entire world. She is my cousin, Rebecca Lynn Scott, Orpheotelest of how do you introduce yourself?
Don't
Here.
worry.
You didn't
Of Bacchic orphism. I
get
can't.
orphism. There you go. And today we are going to be talking about a topic that is both near and dear to both of our ADHD hearts and souls, right? Rebecca Lynn, you and I met like what, 2 years ago, 3 years ago already.
Years ago.
Um, and it has just been an amazing journey getting to know you and getting to love you. And you have taught me just so much about how to do magic in an ADHD fashion. And so when I asked you if you wanted to help me with this telethon, you were like, "Oh yeah, we'll teach people how to meditate when they have ADHD and when it gets hard." So that is why we are here today. And before we dig into all that, what I would like to do is on your screen, everybody watching, you're gonna see a QR code. I want you to take 2 minutes to hit that QR code and send us $1. Okay. We had 2 huge donations the last 2 hours. Okay. Mike Neal and the Aquarian Tabernacle Church from Belladonna Laveau. I want you to just send us $1. Okay. Help us get there step by step to that $10,000 goal. And I would also love it if you took a look at our auction section and also our divination alley, which is inside that section. Buy some readings, get some cool items that we have for sale. I'm looking at that throw caftan myself over there. It looks really comfy and cozy. And now we're gonna have a good time, and then we're gonna lead into the big feature of the night, which is the music night. But before that, we're gonna learn how to meditate when it gets rough. Let's go, my friend. How you doing? I'm so excited that you're here.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. This is going to be a
Absolutely.
lot of fun, I
It
think.
is. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So
All
where
right.
would you like to start? Let's
Well,
let's dive right in.
let me introduce myself. I'm
Please.
Rebecca Lynn Scott. I'm here to talk to you today about how to figure out how you can meditate. I do a lot of different things, really. I'm a death worker. I'm an orphotelist. I'm a poet. I do. I teach keening
Yes.
or railing. I do a lot of things. But really, the only credentials I think I need here for this is that I have both ADHD and aphantasia, and I
Yes.
have found ways to meditate anyway.
Yes. And I
So we're
am
not just
fortunate to
going to talk.
also have ADHD and aphantasia myself.
Yes, and we're not just going to talk about problems for ADHD and aphantasia. We're going to cover as many neurospicy flavors as I can manage, because we're going to talk about it from a problem perspective rather than a rather than a specific neurodivergence perspective.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of tools in this toolbox. So
Right.
I hope that everybody can find something that works for them.
Excellent.
So uh, we've been talking about aphantasia, and most people are going to be
Or
familiar
like,
with ADHD, but no, most people are not going to know aphantasia. I hadn't heard the word myself until a few years ago when my initiation sister mentioned having it and explained
mhm,
what it was. I immediately went, "Oh, that's me."
right.
And aphantasia is the inability to create mental images at will. If you try to imagine an apple and you don't see a picture of it in your head, then you too have aphantasia.
Right. And there are
And
levels of aphantasia, you know,
yes,
and it's like, I think it's like 6 or 5, like level 1, I think that's like the least, or, the least where you can only see maybe like an outline in your brain. And then level 5 is like, oh, you can see like basically perfectly clear, like whatever you're trying to imagine.
something like that.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, and for those of you who just went, people can do that. I thought it was a metaphor.
Uh-huh.
Yes, yes,
That was me.
most people actually can, and you have aphantasia. I know,
Congratulations and welcome to the crew.
the whole thing sounds fake to me too. Like, I was like, wait, people really do that?
In fact, the third high priestess in our temple, the new temple of Janus, Nova Ida Siani, told me that it was not a metaphor because she could see the paradise with the beach and the palm trees and the coconuts and all that stuff. Incredible.
Yup. So both of these conditions are big stumbling blocks to the kind of meditation that modern paganism usually recommends. And there are a lot of other kinds of differences and problems that people can have that are also obstacles. So I'm here today to give people a handle not on meditation as it's been suggested before, but on how to find other ways of meditating that work better for each of you out there personally. So first, let's define meditation.
Yes.
Meditation is a practice in which you discipline your mind into a particular state. This can be a state of emptiness, or of imagining particular things, or of being mindful, or of complete focus on something, or really a number of other things. The point of meditation is the discipline. So let's discuss some common types of meditation that neurospicy people have trouble with.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting meditation, in which you just sit there and keep your body still while doing things with your mind. This is often difficult for people with ADHD and autism because sitting perfectly still is hard. Breathing meditation, in which you focus on your breathing. This is often combined with sitting meditation. Breathing can be hard to focus on for a lot of reasons, including that it focuses too much on the body. Some people have trouble with breathing, and it's really boring.
Mm-hmm.
Empty mind meditation, in which you strive towards no thought. This is often combined with both of the above, especially in Zen traditions. This can be especially difficult for people with intrusive thoughts, but also people with racing thoughts, inattentive type ADHD, and other issues. It's important to note, though, that some meditation teachers will actually remember to tell you that extended periods of perfect thoughtlessness are like a big goal and unrealistic for most people.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard it said that a more realistic goal is something like 50% empty, 25% awareness of one's surroundings, and
Mm-hmm.
25% random thoughts drifting through.
Right. Right.
In the case of the last, the practical goal is not to have no random thoughts at all, but to acknowledge and set them aside when they occur, rather than getting upset with yourself. Never get upset with yourself when you're meditating. Just say,
Just
okay,
go into
I'm
it.
going to go back to it now. It's all right. Everything's okay. Visualization meditation, in which you picture specific things, obviously impossible for people with aphantasia, as well
Mm-hmm.
as difficult for people with inattentive ADHD and other problems. Mindfulness meditation, in which you make yourself aware of what's going on around you and with you. This often includes awareness of your body, which is frequently bad for those with dysphoria or chronic pain, among other things. It can also be rough for people with anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually been some studies just recently about how mindfulness meditation is not as soothing as people think it is for that
Right.
reason.
Right.
Group meditation, which is what it sounds like. People who need to stim or have specific sounds going can be very distracting for others in a group setting when everyone is not doing the same. Silent meditation, or meditation with specific traditional sounds like a gong or chanting, can be very difficult for people who need some specific kind of sound or
Mm-hmm.
silence for them to focus. Moving meditation or pose meditation, as in yoga, can be very difficult for people with specific body problems, which all often go with neurodiversity. Other problems people can encounter include intrusive thoughts of many kinds, texture difficulties like finding clothing itchy or contact with certain kinds of flooring unpleasant, and other physical discomforts. Air movement, which can often be unpleasant or distracting for some. Twitchiness of other kinds, the need not necessarily to stim, but to have first settled your body. The need to process feelings or issues that will get in the way of focusing on other things. Time management, which too many of us have. I knew that'd be
Sorry,
good.
you got me there.
And physical issues such as itches and cramps and pains. And there are always more of them. Reasons for having difficulty meditating are many and varied. And it's okay to have those problems.
Yes. Step 1, accept that you have the problem. Step 2, fix the problem.
Well, I actually had a slight difference for you here.
Go
Because
ahead.
as far as I'm concerned, the first thing to do in finding a meditation that's right for you is to throw out everything you've been told that wasn't useful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You don't
Stop it.
have to do it the way that you were taught. There are other ways.
In meditation, as in everything else, you are the expert on your experience. And if you know that it doesn't work for you, then you know it. Toss anything that doesn't work.
Yes.
The second thing to do is to be willing to try a lot of different things in order to find a way that works for you. That doesn't mean try and try and try again the same things that aren't working. It means trying new things. This is all trial and error. And it's okay to need to take a break from trying sometimes for a while. Just go back to it when you can. The rule to keep in mind is if it works, it's not a dumb idea. And if it doesn't work, you at least accomplished ticking one more thing off the list of things to try. Yeah. Um, so I'm going to tackle one of the biggest wrong things that people get told about meditation. I got told this when I was new, and it took me many years to figure out that it was incorrect. You do not have to sit during meditation.
Absolutely
Certainly
correct.
do not have to sit still during meditation. It's just false. And yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
Moving meditations exist in all the major meditation traditions and are excellent. And we just don't hear about them enough. You can meditate while walking, doing the dishes, knitting, cycling, or as the lovely Zen teacher Edward S.B. Brown famously teaches, while cooking. Any motion that you can do without a lot of thought is good for empty mind meditation, including things that other people call fidgeting. Any motion that you can do completely automatically is good for visualization, as long as you're not going to run into anything.
Right.
And any motion that you have to pay attention to is good for mindfulness meditation and focus meditation. Personally, I spin thread as a form of meditation, and I taught that to Liz here.
Yes, yes, you did, and I love it. Oh my God, it's so good. And I wish this were about grounding too. Maybe we can sneak that in because your method of grounding, which I talked about briefly last 2 hours, is amazing. It's like chef's kiss.
We will try and fit that in. Yes.
Yes.
Um, so any kind of soothing stimming can be good too. Get yourself a fidget spinner, bounce your leg, flap your hand, chew on a silicone thingy, anything, whatever you do. The thing about moving meditations for empty mind or visualization is to let your body do its thing so that your mind can do its thing. Whatever your body needs to do for you to be able to focus your brain, let your body do it. Fall into an automatic motion or let yourself do the motion over and over. Let the rhythm of it carry your thoughts away, or let the rhythm feed its energy into your visualization, or let the motion become the absolute focus of your attention. But above all else, if you can't sit still, don't try. That is a sure way to not manage meditation. So Moving on, if breathing meditation doesn't work for you for any of the reasons I listed earlier and any others that might come up, but you feel like you need a steady rhythm to be the backbeat for your meditation, then try a metronome or a metronome app, or try a recording of a drum beat. 120 beats per minute is famously good for trance, which is why the stuff called trance music uses it, but it can be a bit fast for many forms of meditation. Just search YouTube though. There are other purposes to breathing meditation, such as it being calming, but if breathing is hard for you, you may not find it calming at all. Another thing you can try to replace it with is simply counting to a low number, such as 4, over and over again. So, and here's one that was a huge stumbling block for me and for others with aphantasia: visualization itself. So much teaching material in modern paganism assumes that the student can visualize and uses the technique as a basic building block. Now, the only thing I've ever found to work for me for journey work, where you visualize yourself on any kind of trip and or doing any kind of things, but which does work extremely well for me, is to tell myself the story of what I'm supposed to be visualizing, to paint a picture for myself with words. Now, that doesn't have to be, full sentences. It doesn't have to be very complex. I can go walking down a path in the forest, trees all around, no leaves on them, moon shining through the branches, looking for the hut, looking for the hut, looking for the end, like that, until I get to where I'm going. And at some point, just as with actual visualization, at some point the story will take over and take on a life of its own, and tell you the story to tell yourself. Um, but visualization is also used for things like chakra work or sensing auras. For these, instead, I recommend trying each of your other senses. Can you feel it on your skin? Can you hear a sound it makes? Can you smell it or taste it? You can laugh at those last, but they work for some people. If your crown chakra tastes like lemonade to you, then hey, you can find it with that. Mindfulness meditation is a tricky one because some amount of awareness of your surroundings is usually good, but too much awareness can be bad for some people. People who have body dysphoria should not pay so much attention to their bodies that they panic. But on the other hand, more gentle forms of body mindfulness can help some people come to terms with their bodies. Note that I say some, not all. And as I mentioned, mindfulness of the wrong parts of one's surrounding can be hell for people with anxiety. My best advice here is to try to be mindful of specific things rather than everything if that's not working for you. Be aware of the things your body does that make you feel good, like the sensation of stretching or the taste of food or whatever you enjoy. If you have anxiety, be mindful of the things that soothe you. In either case, when your mind wants to focus on something disturbing, instead redirect your thoughts to the things that feel better. Group meditation can be a source of conflicting needs. You may need to move, and the rest of the group may need stillness around them. You may need sound, and they need silence, or the reverse. In these cases, it is not that you are wrong for having your needs. It is the wrong group for you. You may need to meditate solo, or maybe you can put together a group of people who have similar needs to meditate together. Neurospicy solidarity may take you far. Should we take a quick break for telethon stuff, Liz?
Yeah, so we can take a small break for that. Thank you so much for all of this info. This is like going to be a really jam-packed hour and I'm loving it. We did, as we were talking, receive a donation of $10 from Livia, and I just want to apologize to Livia because I thought it was from Reverend Sir Emerald, but she actually was donating to Reverend Sir Emerald's portion because we do have that ability. Um, Thank you so much, Livia. And I love you and I adore you. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts once again for giving us those 10 steps, those $10 forward towards that $10,000 finish line. And if you have a moment, if you can break away from Rebecca Lynn's entrancing voice, you have a very meditative voice. I love it. Just give a scan to donate of that QR code. That's the fuzzy looking black and white thing in on the bottom left hand side of your screen right there. It'll take you about 2 minutes or less to make a donation. The biggest obstacle that you may reach is deciding how much to give to us. I will take any denomination, any numeration of money that you wish to desire. One step counts, two steps counts, five steps counts, 10, 20, 50, 100. Don't break your bank. I'm not asking you to do that. I would never ask you to do that. But every dollar will get us closer to the $10,000 that we need to be comfortable at the Parliament of the World's Religions in actual beds instead of bunk beds. I don't want to go bunk bedding, okay? I would like a nice warm bed or comfy, relaxing, cozy bed to fall into after doing the work that the gods sent me to Parliament to do as one of the representatives of the paladins and of the Correllian tradition. With that said, thank you to our 34 supporters so far, and thank you again to Faye Witch for giving us that happy to help. Oh yes, I appreciate you so much. Is there anything, any encouragement, Rebecca Lynn, that you would like to give?
Um, I would remind people that having pagans at the Parliament of World Religions is incredibly important for all of us.
Mhm,
It introduces our religions to people who have never heard of us or who have only heard bad things about us.
mhm.
And it is so transformative for those people to meet us and talk to us. And so we really need these folks to go as a community. And anything you can do to help with that would be just fantastic.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much for that. And if you do not have $1 or $5 to give, the next best thing you can do is share to all of your social media because we have basically been wiped off the map of Facebook for lives anyway. However, we are still on YouTube and Twitch TV, twitch.tv/, Pagan World TV. So share those instead on Facebook. We will get around this. We know how to pivot. I am the queen of pivots. Okay. And we are also, don't forget, on Roku. If you don't want to be on your computer or your phone all day, just throw us up on Roku and tell your neighbors to come watch us too. They'll have a blast, I promise. And they'll learn a lot in the process. Especially, and they'll have a great time in the next hour. At 6 p.m. is the big music night that was put together by Reverend Sir Ebony Nash. A huge shout out to her, and I can't wait to just kind of lay back and vibe and take a break. This has been such a busy telethon, but that is like the highlight of the whole 50-hour event. And now back to our show.
All right. So picking up from there, since we were discussing the music night, let's discuss silent and sound meditations. Either of these can be fantastic for the right person, but for the person they're wrong for, either can be absolutely miserable.
Hmm.
It can take some experimentation, but finding the sound or lack of sound that works for you can help tremendously. Some sounds that work for neurospicy people I know include rain sounds, cafe sounds, wave sounds, drums or other rhythms, wordless ASMR videos, instrumental music, and of course, silence. If you find sounds outside your ideals too distracting, I strongly recommend active noise canceling headphones
Hmm.
that will play your sound for you and block out all other sounds electronically. And if you want to block out as much noise as possible, there's actually a company called Loop, Loop, that makes earplugs that are very different and fit a much wider range of ear canal shapes than any I've ever found. Um, They have different size tips. They fit very nicely. They're very comfortable. I love mine. Little plug there, so to speak, pun unintentional. But the most important thing to know is that there is no wrong sound to meditate to. If ambient black metal is what works for you to meditate to, then it does, and you should do that. Also, sound for meditation can include sound you are making. Chant a mantra, sing a Broadway melody, play the drum or the cowbell, whatever works for you. Uh, when I am not spinning, I sometimes pick up my frame drum and tap
Yes.
out a really simple rhythm to fall into. Um, Triplets are good. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, like that. Okay, we've discussed earlier how moving meditations can be good, but they can also be bad for some people,
Right.
especially people with disabilities and chronic illnesses. And that's okay too. I can't walk far without pain, so walking meditations are right out for me. But small movements like the spinning, those work great. Every bit as important to find the right movement if you're going to use movement as it is to find the right sound.
Right.
Yoga, in particular, is a thing very often recommended that is absolutely not for everyone.
No.
If you have
No,
tried
thank
yoga
you.
and it does not work for you, do not do it. Let's move on to the other difficulties I mentioned earlier. So let me be absolutely straight here. Everyone has thoughts that cross their minds when they're trying to meditate. Zen masters have thoughts that cross their minds, at least sometimes. This is normal and to be expected. A good meditation teacher or resource will tell you this and tell you to acknowledge the thought, set it aside, and go back to what you're supposed to be focusing on. Some people, though, have intrusive thoughts. I do. Thoughts that keep coming back up and are usually disturbing or distressing. I get intrusive thoughts about my anxieties and about self harm. So, here are a few techniques for dealing with thoughts crossing your mind during meditation, whether they're simple or complex.
Hmm.
One friend of mine does walking meditation and takes a pocket full of pebbles with her.
Oh.
Every time she needs to get rid of a thought, she assigns the thought to a pebble and throws it away and repeats it whenever the thought resurfaces or a new one
Mm.
does. If you're doing an indoor meditation, you might try something like this with marbles or those squashed marbles and just sort of flick it
Mm.
across the floor away from you. But if your thoughts are more muscular than the pebbles, then you might want to consider some other physical motion, such as thumping one fist into the opposite palm to squash it, or stomping on it, or whatever. The important thing, though, is not how you get rid of that thought, but to keep going with the meditation after you've tried to get rid of the thought. If you can't get rid of the thought, if it's just not working well, wait a minute. I have advice for that too. Texture and comfort. If you can't stand the feeling of something on your skin while you meditate, then go into your private space and meditate naked.
Hmm.
There's nothing in the world wrong with that. If you can't stand the feel of certain flooring or something beneath you, lay down a mat or a rug that you find pleasing and sit on that. Make yourself comfortable, however that works for you. And by the way, you are allowed to sit on a pillow or a soft pillow instead of a hard one. Physical discomfort does not help meditation. Zen in particular has all these traditions of these strange things to sit on that are not comfortable for a lot of people. Just skip it and find yourself something
Hmm.
comfy.
Hmm.
If being comfortable excludes air movement for you, then you may need to meditate in a small enclosed space with the windows closed and the fan off. It may mean that you can't meditate outside at all or that you need to cover up completely in order to do so. All of that falls under making yourself comfortable. If you're feeling twitchy, but you can't find a movement meditation that works for you, perhaps what you need is to wear yourself out a little with physical movement before you meditate. This appears to have been the original point of yoga, by the way, to work the kinks and twitches out of your body so that the yogi is more able to meditate. You don't have to do yoga though. Any kind of exercise that feels good to you is a right kind of exercise. Maybe you only need 5 minutes of it. Maybe you need an intense gym workout. Again, this is all about what you need. So if you get twitchy while meditating and you can't incorporate it, and the other suggestions don't help, try this. In addition to physical twitchiness that might need to be worked out, there are kinds of emotional twitchiness that might need it too.
Mhm.
If your meditation is instead cluttered with thoughts about feelings and situations in your life, then you might need a kind of emotional exercise before meditating. If you're in therapy or can get therapy, you might try meditating after a session and see how that works. If that's not an option for you or you're between sessions, you might try journaling to get the thoughts out of your head, or just venting to a friend or into an audio diary. But if you can't focus on meditation because of those intrusive thoughts and feelings about specific things, stop trying to meditate and go try to work those out somehow. On the other hand, if something new, some new feeling or thought comes up during meditation and you need to pay attention to yourself, give attention to it. Give yourself permission to stop meditating and deal with that thing. If you suddenly have a new project idea, stop and write it down. If you suddenly come to an understanding about your relationship with your dead grandfather, stop and call somebody or journal or email your mom. If you suddenly want to cry and you have no idea why, just let yourself cry
Yeah.
or laugh
Yeah.
or whatever. Okay, now I'm going to say something that nobody who has trouble with schedules and time, including me, wants to hear, which is that because meditation is a practice, you get the most benefit from doing it regularly.
Yeah.
Ah. Now, if you are one of those people who must have a schedule, just schedule in 5 minutes for meditation every day. Just five to start with, maybe three. You don't have to do this for very long. Later, you can up it to 6 minutes or eight as you are able to.
Mhm.
As you are able to stretch that longer and longer, schedule more time for yourself. If you have trouble with schedules, though, and you still want to meditate regularly, then instead of trying to schedule it by time, try doing it just before or after you do something else that you do every day or nearly every day. 5 minutes just after you brush your teeth, or on your afternoon break at work, or right before you make dinner, or in bed before you sleep. However, and I want to be clear on this is a huge problem for people. Sometimes you are not going to get it done. Sometimes you will not have time, or you will forget, or you will not have the patience, or the spoons, or whatever. And that is normal and okay.
Can
If
I
possible,
can I add an example to that? Okay.
go for it.
So Rebecca Lynn and I have established that I really want to do ancestor veneration and talk to the ancestors and pray to them every night. So what I did is I bought myself a little chart and I got some stickers and I stick a sticker on. And let me tell you what, I haven't done this daily in over 2 months, but every time I do, I give myself a sticker and I just let the nights know that I don't get it done. That is absolutely okay. And it might take you a little bit to get to the it's absolutely okay, and that's okay.
Yes. Yes. And the important thing is just to pick it back up
Yep.
the next day or 2 days later or 3 days later and keep the practice going. And just don't get mad at yourself. There's no need to get mad at yourself. This is normal.
Mhm.
This happens. Just start again when you're able. And sometimes you're going to not be able to get the practice going again. And you suddenly realize one day that it's been 3 weeks or 2 months or whatever, and you haven't meditated. Don't get mad at yourself. Don't blame yourself. It happens. It's okay. Just once it's you notice and you're able to make the space for yourself, try it again. Expect that it will be a little more difficult again for a while, but it's okay. Just go back to it. Sometimes while meditating, you will get an itch or a cramp or something will hurt. That's just bodies doing their thing. With a cramp, stop and stretch it out. If it hurts and moving will ease the pain, then move. Itches are actually interesting. Sometimes you can get one to go away by focusing your attention on it really hard. But if you can't or you don't want to do that, just scratch the itch and move on. By the way, you might be meditating already and not realize it.
Mm.
If
Mm-hmm.
there's if there's something you do that completely occupies your mind, that you can do only that and not be distracted by small things. Crochet, video games, singing, playing an instrument, whatever. Then that's a kind of meditation. Yes, that means that hyperfocus can be meditation. Once you realize that you are already meditating, then the next step is to keep doing it on purpose regularly. Yes, I've just given you permission to play video games if that's what you hyperfocus on.
Darn it, you called me out again.
All right, I'm coming to the end of the scheduled stuff here. Penultimately, if what you're doing is just absolutely not working for you, stop doing it. It will make attempting to meditate feel like a chore or a burden and make you not want to do that. And that is the opposite of useful. It's a self fulfilling prophecy and a vicious cycle. I do encourage you to try to stay open minded about new techniques, especially ones suggested by other neurospicy people whose needs are similar to yours. But when it's not for you, you know by trying it and having it fail you. And it is always that the method has failed you, never that you have failed the method. You cannot fail at meditation. You can only have not succeeded this way, this time. And finally, meditation is one of those things that a lot of people have ideas on, and a lot of those ideas are, if not bad, then at least not useful to everyone. So you really need a way to tell people to butt out. I suggest, thanks for your advice, but that turns out not to be the only way to do it, and it's not a way that works for me. I'm finding my own way, and I am not looking for further help.
Mm.
I give you permission to say that as ironically or unhappily as you feel like. You can also just say, thanks, but I don't need your help. Or thanks, but that doesn't work for me. Please leave me alone. So that is the speech. I suppose we should take a break at this point, and we'll have some questions when we come back.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Anybody watching right now, all five of you out there in audio, visual, radio, internet land, you guys put your questions for Rebecca Lynn Scott in the chat. But before you do that, I want you to give us money. $1 from 5 or 6 of you will get us $5 or $6, aka steps closer. We have 10,000 of them to take. Well, actually 9,700 and something odd to take. And I would also like to welcome in Sir Brian. Hi, darling. You have been helping us in the back end here today, and I am so grateful to have you participating with us. You have done so much for our campaign, our telethon, to get us to where we are right now. And thank you to the 34 people who have supported us in the fashion of $1,351. Every step of the way is so crucial and so valued. I just want to remind you that we are doing this telethon so that we can go and represent all of you. And so that excuse me. Brian, what did you think about what Rebecca Lynn had to say? Did any of it resonate good for you?
Definitely.
Excellent. It resonated
Mhm.
a lot for me, especially those few call outs there. Time management, doing things every day, scheduling them in. Well, at least I have Brian here to schedule them in for me. I don't know if I'm
I was
actually
going
going
to
to
say,
follow the
all of
schedule,
those things
but
are much bigger things.
he is the keeper of my calendar for those of you who are not familiar. Um, my goodness. So yeah, we're going to keep that up on there for just a little bit. We got about 15-20 minutes left before we turn this entire platform over to our 6-hour music extravaganza put together by our very own Paladin Major, Reverend Sir Ebony Nash, aka Sir ELN. She and Cloud the Pagan Rapper are going to be our MCs for tonight, and it's going to be amazing. I can't wait to hear all the different music that they have to bring and showcase for us during this 2023 Correllians Live Telethon. Brian, would you like to tell people where they can go for the Divination Alley and auction since that's your jam?
I most certainly can.
Okay.
And I am happy to announce that we have had people buy outright some wonderful items, include one of those readings from our first priest regent, Phoenix Coffin Williams. Someone bought one of those. One of our readings from Papa G has been sold. And then one of those little fuzzy friends is going out as well. So, and I believe something Rebecca Lynn talked about was holding things and textural items. So, there are some great useful items for your various neurospice meditative needs over in the Divination Alley, which is over there.
Givebutter.com/c/Corellians live/auction. I can put that in the chat too. Go for it.
Cool. And with that, I
Butter.
will bid you both adieu. And as we get ready for that 6 hour music block that you talked about, so because of that, Sir Brian will be exiting stage left.
Thank you so much, Sir Brian. You're amazing, and we couldn't have done this without you. Very much applause and bravo. Thank you all for taking this 45 minutes to hear what my good friend, my cousin, my fellow high priestess in the new Temple of Janus, Rebecca Lynn Scott, has had to say about learning how to meditate when you're neurospicy. I know that I have a lot of people out there who these words will definitely resonate for. And if you didn't quite catch everything, this has been recorded. Okay, you can find this later on YouTube. Maybe your brain wasn't quite scratching the itch during this programming, and that's totally okay. Because oh, one moment, please. I have to answer. Oh, okay, never mind for that one. Sorry about that. Because you could just go back and listen to it later. So it's all there. And if you have any questions, please feel free to DM me over on Facebook or send us an email to the Correllians Live email address, correllianslive@gmail.com. And we might have to have one of these classes again. I love talking about being neurodivergent and hacking our own brains, right? It's just so much fun.
And I will
And
make a copy of my script available as well.
oh, awesome. That would be great. I think it would be especially great for people. We've had a couple of people who are deaf and hard of hearing within this programming so far. So I think that that will be a great resource. And I will be definitely sure to reach out to those people that I know definitely need that script to read from so that they can benefit too. And they can share it with all of their friends as well and get the word out there about that you don't have to do the things that don't work for you. Oh, hi in the chat, Bradley Fosterberry. He gives us a whole bunch of rainbowy hearts, and I love rainbow hearts. They're amazing. They're so good. They remind me of those little what are they called? Sweet tarts. And like I
Conversation parts.
oh yes, converse. That's right. That's right. So yeah. Thank you to every single person. Let's see here. What else should we talk about? We got about 5 minutes before we want to start skedaddling out.
Well, I was hoping people would have some questions, but
Okay.
if nobody does, I've got a little exercise.
Yeah,
that we can do, and I
let's
will
try that.
try.
I will pay attention to the chat. Oh, also the seven chakras. Oh yes, of course. Yes, Bradley. Absolutely. Silly me. Weird mind associations, right? Let's try that exercise, Rebecca Lynn. Like it'll take like 5 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, first of all, I want you to settle yourself comfortably. So you're comfortable. If you need to bounce your leg, if you need to fidget with something, if you need to do whatever, that's okay. So settle yourself in however is right for you. I'm going to count backwards from 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, with your eyes either open or closed, hold up your dominant hand. In it, you hold a glowing green orb. Can you see it? It's okay if you can't. Can you feel the pressure of it against your palm and fingers? What does it feel like? Is it solid or is it just light? Is it warm or cool? Does it tickle? Does it pulse? If you can't feel it, hold it to your nose and smell. Do you smell mint or basil or something else? Open your mouth and taste it if you want. Does it taste like ice cream or arugula? Hold it to your ear. Does it have a sound? Soft sighing, quiet tone, tinkling of bells? If you can't sense it in any of these ways, try describing it to yourself, whatever you want it to look like. And I'll give you a minute here to experience it in whatever way works for you, to play with it.
It's so warm. And it kind of like flexes like a balloon.
Now, pass the orb from the hand that's holding it to your other hand. If you already have something in that hand physically, go ahead and swap them. Does it feel any different in this hand? Warmer, cooler, rougher, smoother? Do you still smell, taste, or hear it? Any of its qualities may have changed. Tell yourself a new story about it. And we'll take just a little while for that to work for you.
It's a little bit cooler, kind of like mint, but not quite like mint. Mint adjacent. Yeah. It's still got that squishy. It feels like a balloon that's filled with I don't know how to describe it. That's okay.
That's okay. All right. And now we're going to count up to 5, 3 times over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there we go.
And I'm back. Hello. Oh my gosh, that was wonderful. That was absolutely wonderful. One moment, please, whilst I communicate with my back end folks.
So I want to thank everybody while Liz is doing that. I want to thank everybody for listening to me today. I want to thank everybody for making donations. Um,
Yes, absolutely. Thank you guys so much. And please stay tuned because what we have up next for you all has been specifically curated for our very pagan audience with many, many, many special guests, but most importantly, the MC. And during this music block, closer to the end of the 6 hours, will be a panel from the Red Album. And oh my gosh, the Red Album is so amazing. But I will leave that for you guys to go Google a little bit. The Red Album, supporting reproductive rights um, for yourselves. And I am sure that Reverend Sir Ebony, the MC of our music block, this telethon, will have tons to say about that. I love me some good music, and I love supporting reproductive and human rights. That's what we are all about. And so I am going to choose a little bit of a longer video so that we have a kind of a smooth transition, gives everybody lots of time to kind of settle in and get their mojo on. Let me go ahead and thank you again, Rebecca Lynn Scott, for
you're very
joining
well.
us here. And let me share with us one more time, if I can, the Give Butter display. We are up to $1,361. I would love to see this absolutely blown out of the water. If you have been waiting for any time during this telethon, the next 6 hours is that time. Again, thank you all so very much. I will now have us line up a good outro here for us. And good afternoon to Vaughn Rapp in the chat. We are just about to exit this show, darling, but hang tight, everybody out there on YouTube, Facebook, Magic TV, and Roku, and Twitch TV. Refresh your segments about 5 minutes and from now, and then we will have our music block just take you away.
You're watching the 2023 Correllians Live Telethon. The team here would like to thank you for all of your support in assisting us in bringing a contingent of paladins to the Parliament of the World's Religions in Chicago, Illinois, August of this year. We are trying to raise $10,000 to assist with the basic needs of housing, food, and travel expenses. Here are some words from the members of the event team on why it is important that we reach that goal.
One of the best things about Parliament is one of the best things that we need in our society, which is unity, compassion, and fellowship, which is something I'm extremely looking forward to. And I hope that this will be inspiration for the future in helping us to be more as one in a community. So join us, continue to join us. Thank you for sharing and liking our posts, and please continue to sponsor us.
I'm Pam Kelly. I am a member of the Sacred Order of Paladins, and I am here to tell you about why are we doing a telethon and how you can help us. Well, let me show you. Let me show you what's in the future. This weekend, Friday, 5 p.m. on Eastern Time, all the way till the 7th of May, which is Sunday at 7. We'll be doing 50 hours of magic and community, lots of shows, lots of guests. But what is it all for? Well, I'd love to show you about it rather than just tell you about it. We are planning to go to Chicago, the Parliament of the World's Religions. It's happening this August, and there's going to be leaders from all sorts of faiths there, as well as leaders from both the Correllian tradition. Circle Sanctuary will be there, and it's the place to be. And it's a place for us to be part of the conversation. This year, it's going to be a call to conscience, defending freedom and human rights, something that's very important to the pagan community, and also part of why we're paladins. We want to defend people, we want to protect people, and we want to be there to show a positive part of what we do as pagans. So please help us. This is happening in August, and we're trying to do what we can to raise money. And our biggest part of the campaign is this weekend. It is the road to the Parliament. So like I said, we'll be around all weekend long with lots of entertainment and shows and ways for community. So you're invited to be part of that. But also don't forget to donate if you can. The best way to donate, there's two ways, is to go to Correllians.live/donate. And here are chances for you just to give an amount. And you can give credit to one of our paladins here, or none, just give it to all of us. We don't get the money, but it makes us feel nice. You know, we don't have a competition going on yet, but who knows? But it'll be friendly, obviously. The other way to do it is givebutter.com, givebutter.com/C/Correllians live. And here, not only can you donate, but you can get some more information on why we're doing this. Also, where you can watch this on Pagan World TV, on Roku, Magic TV on YouTube, or streaming live on the web at Correllians.live. And you can share this. This is a good thing too. You can share this link with other people. Not only does it give you the opportunity to donate, but here's where we have the option. We're going to have plenty of items to bid upon, and you can start the bidding on Friday. It's going to be fun. There's all sorts of things. A 15-minute tarot reading with First Priest, Most Reverend Phoenix Coffin Williams. That's great. All these different readings here. Look at that chainmail pentacle wall hanging. Who would want that? I see a bidding war unrolling, unveiling, becoming a thing this weekend. A numerology chart. You know, I don't know if I should look at this right now. I can't bid yet, but we will be bidding all during the event. So please join us and please donate. We really would like to be at the Parliament here, manifesting vibes and support the Paladins on our road to the Parliament. Thank you so much for listening and being part of this monumental effort and historical effort. So thank you. Blessings.
From all of us here at the 2023 Correllians Live Telethon, we want to thank you again for your support. Please be sure to check out Divination Alley and get yourself a reading. Or check out our online auction that is overflowing with wonderful craft items, books, and services for sale. Remember, our goal is to raise $10,000, so please help us spread the word about the event, our cause, and be sure to stay tuned for more. So thank you all again, and may you all blessed be. Enjoy the telethon.